Good evening to you, my friends. It is a pleasure to come and to talk with you. For you know, all of you have many questions, and you are seeking answers. And that is good as far as we are concerned in the spirit world. It is important, you see, that you do take seriously your spiritual pathway in life, because your material world and the spiritual realms and your understanding of both should be parallel one to the other. The reading, of course, was quite long, and yet you summed it all up in the hymn that you sang next, a melody of love, because you have to be in harmony with yourself, with your thinking mind and your spiritual essence. That is the true person that you are. For it is the Spirit that is going to move on in your life to give you eternal life. Because you know one of your principles is that you have eternal progress open to every human soul. But we must congratulate all of you, for you know you are looking for answers to questions. For life in your material world can be difficult and tedious at times, just to use two descriptives of life in your world of matter. And so we come to allay your fears and to put to one side all those things that trouble you. You only have to switch on your radio or your television or your internet to find numerous things that is going to worry you about what is happening within your world. And the spirituality within mankind seems to be something that is unattainable, and yet, you know, we would encourage you all to look at your own spirituality, because it is love that binds you all together. It is God the Creator that gives to you all unconditional love in equal measure. Not one of you has more or less of it. It is yours for the taking, yours for the understanding. We know that you get tired physically and mentally, but spiritually you are alive and well and vibrating as you should. Because you see, your physical body confines the spirit, and it is the spirit that is the essential ingredient, shall we say. In your world you seem to have what shall we say, lots and lots of programs on cooking and food and the nutritional value of such to keep your body sustained. Well, we would talk to you about spiritual aspects of life to keep your spirit sustained as it struggles on through this existence within the material physical world. Because you know you are all journeying along the same pathway of life. You are all making decisions all of the time. You all have the correct ingredients, you know, for enjoying life. But you have to be in touch with your true self, with your spirit. And that enables you then to be in touch with the spiritual realms, where your loved ones and your friends and your guides and helpers have a life also. And you know, part of their work is to tell to you the truths of life, to give you help and guidance. But you know, you have to ask. It cannot just be thrown at you. You know, when you are doing your cookery, then you are going to have ingredients listed, and you are not just going to put everything into the bowl and hope for the best, although some of you do. But you know, in a recipe it is measured out so that you can get the results that should make for a fine meal to be undertaken. And so it is that we give you all the relevant ingredients that you need for your spiritual well-being, so that your spirit is fed, so that you are able to understand all about eternal life, all about the gifts that you have been given, that have been bestowed upon you by God, the Father, the great Creator, the great Spirit, that essence of life itself. And so we would encourage you to ask all of these questions and to work with your psychic faculties so that you may link and have knowledge and understanding through personal experience of the spirit realms. There are too many in your world that would wish to conjure up fear of that very communication that is yours, for the understanding of it is personal to each one of you. And so you see, you have steps to take forwards in your life. And as you take on board the essence of the message, then you are not going to fear the world that you consider to be unknown, the world that runs parallel to your physical world. For the two interpenetrate but exist in different states of vibration. And so there is science involved in this. There is a religious aspect also. And you know, you talk about spiritualism as being a philosophy, a science, and a religion. And so you see, you are thinking all of the time, and it is good that you are able to ask these questions of those in the spirit realms. The next part of your service is going to be communication from your loved ones and friends. And that may be what draws you in to a church such as this, because you want to know that they are fine, that they are well, that their existence continues, that their spirit continues in that world beyond matter. And yet, you know, you have to really take on board philosophical aspects of life so that you can face all adversity, for your life will never be plain sailing. There will always be rough waters here and there. It is the schoolroom of life, this material world, and you are all learning from your lessons and doing it very well, we may add, if you then look within yourself to find strength, to find courage, to find harmony and peace, and to find love that passes all understanding. Because you see, all those things are there for the taking. We do not ask that you have strings attached to accept God's love that is eternal. All that we ask is you take on board your understanding of truth. There are many myths, of course, in your world. There are many fairy tales told to you, especially as children. And then when you realize that some of those things are not true, then it is upsetting and you lose faith, you see. And we want you to have faith in yourselves and in the spirit realms, because that is the truth. And it is important that you take this on board, for healing can be administered to you. You know, there are many that think that the physical body is all that is in life. And so they worry and despair when there is no need. To take on board that your spirit has an eternity in which to progress is good news. You are all equal, as we said, in the essence of the Spirit. And so it is that you can choose whether or not to work with those gifts that have been bestowed upon you. It is not a mystery. It is a given that you can utilize your gifts and work as a channel for the spiritual world. And in so doing, you will find that you are moving forward, that life is less arduous, that you are able to understand what life is about, and by your actions and by your thoughts, other people that may not have your understanding of a spiritual essence will realize that you glow and burn a light that can be seen by them, because they want to know what makes you tick, that you are able to cope so admirably in your life. It is the essence of your spirit, my friends. And so we would encourage you all to look at your pathway, to see where it is that you are going. Because you know, you do not become a spiritual being at that point of death. You are a spiritual being here and now. We want you to be inspired. We want you to take notice of your inner being. We want you to look and see. We want you to have answers to your questions. We want you to be an instrument for the spirit world. And then, you see, your world will begin to alter. There will be this great spiritual upliftment that you will find, and it will give you the impetus to move on, to ask more questions, to find more answers, so that you can be a servant of the great Spirit that you call God. That is all that we ask, is that you serve the Spirit that is you. And in so doing, the spirit world will aid you in your endeavors, because it is a privilege for us in the spirit world to have channels that we may use to bring forward the power of the Spirit, to bring forward the power of clear seeing, to bring forward the power of the laying on of hands and the administering of healing. And so it is that your world will evolve slowly but surely towards the light of God, that great eminence that is the creator of all things. And so we encourage one and all to take those steps slowly but surely into the light of the Spirit, and to use what knowledge you have to encourage others to do the same. Be positive, do your best is all that we ask of you, and you cannot fail. You may feel that you have no energy, that you have no strength. But you know, when you allow the Spirit within to guide you, and you go with that intuition that is yours, then you cannot fail. You can only move forward in bigger and bigger steps, so that you are always working in the light of God the Father. Within your spiritualism you have just 7 principles that are open to your own personal interpretation, and yet they will keep you on the straight and narrow of your spiritual unfoldment. So take heed, read them, see what you think is the meaning behind them, and you cannot fail. You have all that you need within you. But it is good to come together collectively from time to time, to talk amongst yourselves, to ask questions of one another and of the spirit world, so that you can see that you are growing in stature. All that we ask is that you face your world in humility, knowing that you are encased in the love of God the Father, that you can be a servant to God the Father, and in so doing you will transform yourself, and others also will wish to follow your light of love and truth. So that is all that we ask, that you work in that light of God, that you work in the light of Spirit, that you are able to move forward, so that you can see that you are doing God's work and being a good and faithful servant in the face of all adversity that you might have to deal with. It will not stop you. It will only help you to see that you are in control, that you are about God's work. And so we say to you, my friends, a good night and God bless.